So Martha, it's recording now?
Yep, it is. Hi, Tom.
Hey, but you know what? My training has taught me, I pretend like I know what I'm doing. Exactly.
All the ladies there. I heard that.
Hey,
No, it wasn't.
I couldn't play.
The whole word. Yeah, no, it's the whole word. All 4 letters. And that's where I. Because I just feel like.
Mary, if I'm allowing Jackie to share her screen, do I need to make her co-host?
You probably need to make her a co-host unless it's on your, like your settings that
not.
are preset all the time. Make her a co-host and
Okay.
then she can share. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Jackie, if you have problems, just let me know.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. First, I'm going to bring in our Zoom participants. So we've got one council member who is being here by electronic means. So Mary Hanson, would you like to tell us why?
You're muted.
Yep. Mary Hanson, I'm participating from San Diego, where I am helping my son and his family with their baby's cancer treatment.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. And let's see, we do have a quorum of physical people present, so we can proceed. And I will start with the roll call. Marjorie Austin. Here. Larry Kimball.
I'm here.
Bill Goldsmith.
Here.
Steve Hallberg.
Here. Yada, yada.
Yada, yada. Mary Hanson.
Present.
There you go. Mayor is here. And let's see, we also have in the room, we have Maribel, and we have Garth, and we have Roy, and electronically, we have our town attorney, Andrea. And let's see, Martha Rodenberg, and we have Ms. Jackie Richards. So let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
States of America.
to the republic
To
for
the
which
republic for which it
one
stands,
nation, under God,
under God,
indivisible, with
indivisible,
liberty and justice for all.
justice for all.
Thank you. I do want to state this is the Urbanna Town Council meeting, Thursday, February 24th. It's 7:05 right now, and first I need to hear if we have a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion.
Motion made, we have a second. Motion made and seconded, any discussion? Okay, let's have a vote. Marjorie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Bill G?
Yes.
Steve Hallberg?
Yes. Yes.
Bill Smith? Mary Hanson?
Yes.
And Mayor votes yes. Okay.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
can I make a request that to make sure that you speak up? Because we don't have any sound system and we're relying on the recording from Zoom.
Okay. Did everyone hear that?
Yes, and actually, I can hear you in San Diego quite well, so.
My little itty bitty voice, you can hear me all the way there? Okay. Excellent. If you need us to speak up, remind us, please.
Mayor, I can hear okay. I can hear fine, but what I can't hear specifically when someone's making making a motion and seconding. So it's hard to distinguish who's saying what. if that's possible, just reiterate who made the motion and who seconded. That would be
I
fantastic.
think it's too fast is the reason.
Dang, I'm trying to get out of here. Okay, the motion was made by Marjorie Austin, seconded by Dr. Bill Gold. All right, so let's go into the minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes for the January 27th, 2022 meeting?
So moved. Second.
All right, moved by Marjorie Austin, seconded by Bill Smith. Any discussion? All right, take a vote. Marjorie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Steve? Steve? Yes. Bill?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes,
And Mayor votes yes too. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Okay, now we have a presentation by the Regional All Hazard Mitigation Plan Update, Jackie Ricard. Am I pronouncing that right? Oh, it says Richards up there.
Yes, Rickard.
Rickard. Pardon me. Ms. Jackie Rickard of the MPPDC Senior Planning Manager. And the floor is yours, Ms. Rickard.
All right, thank you very much. Can you see my screen? All right, should be the presentation.
See most of it.
All right, there we go. All right, so good evening. My name is Jackie Rickards and I'm with the Middle Peninsula Planning District Commission. I'm a senior planning project manager there, and I've been working with the region on this particular plan update since January 2021. So I'm just here to give you a brief overview of how that progress has been going and where we are in the process. So we did receive funding through FEMA and the Virginia Department of Emergency Management back in the summer of 2020. And so in the fall, we worked to get all the MOUs in place with all the localities. And then when January hit, we started with the local planning team. And so the reason that we have the all hazards mitigation plan is that it's to meet a federal mandate. The Federal Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000 requires local governments to develop and submit mitigation plans that demonstrate a jurisdiction's commitment to reduce risk from natural hazards. And so it serves as a guide for decision makers as they commit their resources to reduce the effects of natural hazards to their jurisdiction. And so as FEMA adopts the plan and then the local governments adopt the hazard mitigation plan, localities and citizens are eligible to receive pre and post disaster mitigation funding through FEMA. And so they have a few pots of money that I listed here. So it's the BRIC funding, which is building resilient infrastructure in communities. Then we have the hazard mitigation grant program, and then the flood mitigation assistance program. And then also with the locally adopted hazard mitigation plan, local floodplain management programs remain in compliance, and then citizens have access to federally backed mortgages as well as federal flood insurance policies. The plan is updated every 5 years. So since 2006, the Middle Peninsula PDC has been working with the localities to keep that plan up to date. And so that's also part of the federal mandate. And another part is that we have to maintain it annually. So we do work with the local governments to get that done on an annual basis. And so back in, like I said, January 2021, we started work with the local planning team, and that consisted of representatives from each of the 9 Middle Peninsula jurisdictions. And this year, for the first time, it also included participation of the 3 federally recognized tribes within our region. So the Pamunkey tribe, the Mattaponi tribe, and the Upper Mattaponi tribe. Yes, and so the local planning team also consisted of some state representatives from DCR, Department of Forestry, Department of Health, VDOT, and then we also had the National Weather Service help us out with the development of the plan. So with this slide, I just want to give a brief overview of the plan itself and some of the components that it consists of. So when we first started to, when the local planning team started to meet, we first developed an outreach strategy, and this consisted of who we wanted to involve in the plan, what we wanted to accomplish with the plan, and how to engage the planning team, stakeholders, and the public. We had some public outreach efforts. We had a public survey, and we also requested comments and feedback on the draft plan. So that was part of it. And then we had some components of social media marketing, hoping to get the plan out to the public a little bit more than we did in the previous years. The major chunk of this plan focuses on hazard identification and the hazard assessment. So we usually go off the hazard list from the previous go around. And so this year we kept most of the list. So we have coastal flooding. I'm not going to go through all 21 of them, but some of the major ones are flooding, winter weather events, hurricanes. And then we also have and wildfires. Those are some of the major ones. But this year we added communicable diseases, since COVID has sort of influenced our life over the past couple of years now. So that was the hazard identification. And then once we have our list of hazards for the region, then we move into the assessment section of the plan. And so through some research and coordination with the state agencies and the National Weather Service, we're able to update the data which is in our plan. We also contracted with Dewberry, which is an environmental consulting firm, to run HAZIS, and HAZIS is a GIS software that focuses on assessing the risk of certain hazards. And so for us, we focused on hurricane winds, flooding, and sea level rise. Once we moved past the hazard assessment part of the plan, localities look to see what sort of capabilities they have within their jurisdiction. And so whether that's staff or citizens that are knowledgeable of one topic or another, or financial resources, this gives the locality an idea of what capabilities they have in order to mitigate the risk of the hazards that were previously identified in the plan. And then the last part of the plan really focuses on the development of the mitigation strategies. And these strategies focus on how the locality wants to mitigate for the hazards that are identified in the plan. This is more of a wish list, and it's not a to-do list necessarily, because in a lot of cases, there's not a lot of funding or staff time on top of all the other important things that localities have going on. So as long as you list what the locality wants to do to mitigate for the risks and has an idea of how they want to get there, then FEMA is generally okay with that. So currently the plan is in review. FEMA has it in their hands, and so they're looking to make sure that the plan meets the mandate. And so once they approve the plan, then we have to go back to local governments for local adoption. So within hopefully the next couple of weeks, we hear back from FEMA, and then next month, I'm hoping that Garth will be able to present you with a resolution asking you to adopt the plan. But we're not quite there yet. This is more of just to lay out how we're going to move forward with the plan. And so with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Here's my contact information. And then I also added the link to the project page. And this sort of just gives you a rundown of agendas for the local planning team meetings, some resources, and information about the plan. So with that, are there any questions I can answer?
On your, I think it was your second slide, you had in your step, oh wait, there it is. Localities and citizens are eligible to receive pre and post-disaster hazard mitigation funding. What's pre-disaster hazard mitigation funding?
So this is just efforts that a locality might take in order to prevent future hazards to impact your region. So let's say you know a certain part of your town floods, and so you're trying to get funding to stop that flooding, or take actions before the actual big event happens. So it's just more of like a proactive approach to mitigate for a potential hazard.
Yeah, that's what I asked.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody in the audience want to ask for any questions? Okay. Richard,
I just want
Garth?
to make a comment, but I particularly want to thank Jackie and the rest of the staff with MPPDC for all of their assistance. I mean, not only in this project, but with other projects as well. She is always available and always ready to assist. And it's just been invaluable. So Jackie, thank you.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
All right.
Good night.
You too. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, next on the agenda, we've got reports, and let's start with the town administrator.
Okay. We'll start with DMV Select, and I want to take the opportunity for those of you who haven't met her, is our DMV Select clerk. I always want to call her, it's Mary Bell Kimball. I always want to call her, what do I? Anyway.
You always want to call her Mary Bell.
Yeah, no, I never do. But anyway, yeah. And she has been with us for the last several weeks, and we officially opened 2 weeks ago. And she's going to give you all a report, but I got to tell you, she has hit the ground running, and I really want to welcome you officially in front of everybody and thank you for your dedication. So I'm going to turn the rest of the report over to you, if that's okay, Mayor.
That's fine.
Quit.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Maribel Simple. Like you said, I'm the clerk here at the DMV Select. I just want to let you know a little bit about the DMV Select. We are not a full service DMV, but we take care of most vehicle transactions, titles, registrations, decals, special license plates, things like that. We also here specifically do hunting licenses and fishing licenses, and we also can help you with your boat registration here as well, and give you a 90-day, temporary registration for your boats as well. We just opened on the 14th. On our first day, we actually had DMV Connect here, which actually helped open up people knowing that we were here. We had people from Northern Virginia coming in here, and we actually took the DMV Connect customers over there and took care of their transactions, and they're like, oh, okay, we'll come here now. So that helped a lot there as well. On the first week, we completed 73 transactions, which is good. The more people know about us, the more transactions we can complete. In the first week, we did a total of 26 titles altogether. In the first week, we also made over close to $4,000 in the first week of opening. Like I said, just tell your neighbors, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, we're here. If you have any questions, please don't feel free to call me or come in. If I don't know the answer, I can look it up for you in policy. If I can't find it, trust me, I can make some phone calls and we'll find the answer together. So it's nice to meet everybody officially.
Thank you.
Mary Bell, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
On the Easy Pass now, I think there may have been some confusion about
Oh, yes.
Easy Passes,
Yes.
and you can recharge a unit. Can you also issue a new unit?
Okay, for us here, only at the Select, the only thing we can do is sell them. We can't go into accounts, we can't put money on them, or we don't take them in, we can't trade them in here. The only thing we do here is sell them.
Okay. So you can't add value to.
No, not.
But you can do that online.
Yeah, you can go online and do it, yeah. So if you buy one here, you're more than
that you're operating by appointment?
Yes, we are operating by appointment, but I had been taking in walk-ins.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to the treasurer's report.
Well, I want to complete my report, if that's okay.
Oh, I thought you turned it over to Mary Jo.
Just for that.
Okay.
All right, pool project, we're moving, we're having a meeting with the representative from Paddock Pools, as well as the general contractor to seek a proposal from them regarding building a new pool. And that is on Tuesday morning, next week. And the mayor, council member Bill Goldsmith, Roy and I met with Matt Walker, Supervisor Don Harris, and Board Chairman Lud Kimbrough to discuss possible funding assistance from Middlesex County. And Bill, I think you're going to give a report in your official report about that, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It's sort of, I mean, you've told most of it, but I'll flesh it out a little.
Yeah. The boat ramp, the materials for the work of the boat ramp are at the marina, and Docks of the Bay has started work in the creek. And so they still have not started on the boat ramp, and I know some of us in this room, that's near and dear to their hearts. And we have been assured that it's going to be completed within the next few weeks. So at least we're moving forward. Maybe half steps, but we're moving.
27 years. Not that you're counting.
Town marina upgrades, we've gotten a proposal from Docks of the Bay for making some modifications to the town marina docks. I forward this information to Preston Smith, who is the director of the big grant program with the Department of Health. And I've requested his approval for big grant funds to be allowed to be used for this project. And he has assured me that if we can't use these funds, perhaps we can have the big grant amended. And if we can't do that, then we can always apply for another grant to have this accomplished. So we'll have more information forthcoming on that. HRSD sewer improvements. HRSD is soon going to be working to extend the sewer lines to Bay Aging on Virginia Street. Out here at the west end of beyond the town limits, and we'll be keeping you posted on this project. Okay, and apparently going down all the way down Virginia Street to Cross Street. So that's pretty good news. 22-23 budget. We've begun working on the budget for the 22-23 fiscal budget year, and we'll be meeting with staff members to get their input. And then we'll be bringing this information forward to the Finance Committee and working on budget to be brought to council. And I think at the last meeting, I announced the July 4th celebration. We've scheduled that for Friday, July 1st. And we have signed a contract with American Fireworks, and Kevin Gentry has agreed to provide the music, which he's done for the previous celebration. And the fire department has agreed to provide the food. So we're already working towards the farmer's market. Met with Marnie Hart, and she's agreed to take on the farmer's market again this year. And she would like to try to do the May Days event, which was a collaborative effort between Oyster Festival Foundation, us, and the farmer's market. And hopefully we can get it done in the Memorial Day weekend instead of July, but that depends on the weather. So anyway, we're moving forward with that. And Marjorie has been working on a special events project that would occur on the fourth Friday of each month, starting in April. And with your permission, Mayor, I would like to call on her to flesh out some details. And I think what she's looking for is just a consensus from council if y'all would be in agreement. It's not an official action item or vote, but just a consensus.
Want to do that now?
Yes.
Okay, Marjorie.
Is the fourth Friday, close the road from May to October, from Cross Street to Rappahannock. So that includes all the businesses. And to Rappahannock includes where the sidewalk ends and Urbanna Trading Post. So that's why I said to Rappahannock. Close those roads from 4 to 8, that part of the road from 4 to 8. The businesses can bring their stuff out. Tables can be set up in the road. Ashland does it, Tappahannock does it. There's quite a few places that do it. Ashland's is great. Mr. Rard told me to go and take a look at that, and I've gone there a couple of times. They have other vendors that come. They have some people that play music. We might have a few people that we could sit in the town green and do some acoustic music, stuff like that, and other vendors. I mean, Ashland has artists that come out, you know, people that make and sell jewelry or what have you. And it's a 4-hour time period, once a month for 6 months, May to October.
Okay, so it's kind of fluid. You've got the arts and crafts.
And then all of our, you know, Sarah could drag her cooker out and do meat and have tables set up in the parking lot there, because there wouldn't be any traffic coming. And then that way that, you know, people have something to do. We'll be known for more than just, you know, one big event. We'll have, you know, one event a month that happens. So just the logistics of it is Garth still would have to put in the permits. I found out you got to go through state police, county police, VDOT, fill out permits and do that kind of thing.
Anytime we have a road closure.
Right, right. And we may have to get the police to be at one end or the other. So it might be a fee for the sheriff's department to make sure people don't try to drive into the areas that would be closed off. So it would benefit everyone that is on Virginia Street that way to have, you know, bring their wares out, bring their food out, bring their tables out, and do that kind of thing.
So traffic would basically turn left on Rappahannock and go down to, what is it, Marston, and then go up that way, or is there the?
You just can't go between Cross and Rappahannock.
Right.
On
So,
Virginia.
on Virginia Street.
Right.
Right,
I just wanted to-
right.
Can you repeat your hours? You said
It's
4 hours.
4 to 8,
4 to 8.
yes. The fourth Friday of every month, May to October.
Afternoon to evening.
Right.
Very good. Thank you. Anyone have any comments about that? Okay.
How the businesses feel about it?
So far, everyone's on board. There's just a couple that I haven't gotten to yet. I just didn't want to keep putting a whole lot of time and effort into it if it's not going to be a consensus that not only that something the council may not want to go through, but even, you know, the public. Ashland and Tappahannock, it brings a huge crowd to come in. I'm not saying huge like Oyster Festival huge, but there are a lot of folks that go to those. Stanton does the same thing. They have a really good street time that they have. So it would probably be small to start out the first couple months, but you know, if it's something that we could just keep doing, like Ashland, Stanton, Tappahannock, we would get, you know, some growth.
Good.
Madam Mayor, I think that's something we should try. I think, you know, if we go ahead and try it, that'll flush out problems. There are problems with it. I think it's a great idea.
Yep.
Thank you. Thanks, Margaret.
So what's your consensus on this? Should I keep pushing forward and?
Yes.
I say yes.
I'd communicate with the businesses.
Yes,
Yeah.
I still have,
she will.
there's still a couple that I have to reach out to, but one business has several vendors that are willing to come with a nautical type theme of their wares that they carry to come in and do as well. So
We do not have to take a vote on this. We just have have a verbal consensus?
Yes, I'm just not spinning my wheels, not knowing if it's gonna, I'm going in the right direction.
Okay. I just wanna know, are we gonna schedule rain dates? Like if this is gonna, will you have a date, like if we have a rain date, we have a date planned in advance?
Probably
not. Where there's last minute, you know, vendors are trying to set up and they.
I don't think so, because, I mean, we're gonna have, when we close the road, you know, the police are gonna be involved, and VDOT and all of that. So if it rains that fourth Friday, we'll just have to say probably no, or come if you want. I mean, I just can't imagine that we'd get too much. So it would just be set as a fourth Friday.
I've got a question. We spend a lot of money at the Oyster Festival for essentially security and safety and things like that. Is there any requirement that we have to have some folks involved in official capacity to close the street down to make sure traffic doesn't go where it's not supposed to go?
Yeah, it would be the police at both ends.
Okay, we gonna pay them?
We probably would have to pay them.
Okay, so that's a cost.
Right.
It'd be cool to kind of see a little cost and anticipated revenue, and a little analysis with it, but
Right.
it could be kind of neat.
Yeah.
We can put that together. We just wanted to know if it was even worth.
Nah, I'm just saying, hey, next step. Let's do a little,
Yeah.
you know, cost benefit analysis and
Or
see if we meet our expectations.
Just so the public is aware of it, what Steve said is we don't pay for law enforcement for the Worcester Festival.
Yeah,
The Worcester Festival Foundation pays for it.
yeah, and I didn't mean to confuse anything.
And this,
by that.
and this
Somebody
could
has to
be,
pay.
also, I have had a little bit of discussion with Oyster Festival on participation with that
Yeah.
too. So everything that I've tried to do, I try to include the Oyster Festival with that. I think they're very important to the town, to everybody here. They're important. So I don't, you know, just
We should
leave them out.
Probably invite other organized organizations like if UBI or UBA.
There is no
There is
UBI
no-
and UBA at this point.
Okay, well,
I have been working, Mr. Fadre and I have had several conversations on some of the things that, and he's kind of given me a little direction too, thankfully. But I don't want to continue forward, like I said, with a fourth Friday. It's a big event to close the roads. And to do this, you know, for everybody, if that's not the consensus.
and just to, Steve brought up, is it gonna be a moneymaker? The town won't get
No.
anything from it except for as maybe taxes or collect sales taxes and.
Yeah, this is to help the this is to help the businesses. This is to get people in to eat the food, buy the stuff, you know, try to help our town. That's what this is about.
Yeah, I get it, I get it.
Thank you.
And sometimes you have to spend money to
Make
get
money.
something. And if we have to pay the police to be here to help our town, then we pay the police to be here to help our town. That's just mine.
And I'd just like to comment that Marjorie has reached out to the sheriff's office.
Good.
And he hasn't returned the call yet, but she has reached out to find out what that would entail. So we just gotta see. We've got a lot of work to do, but we shouldn't be doing a whole lot of, putting in a lot of time if y'all don't want to see it happen. So that's the whole point.
I'm just trying to figure out, hey, have you talked to Napa?
No,
Owner of Napa,
no, I have not.
does that impact his traffic? That's
It wouldn't impact his traffic. He can come in by the gas station.
French George.
It would close off at Prince George because we would need to include where the sidewalk ends and the Urbana trading post.
we just want to give him a heads up.
Well, that would all happen.
I'm sure it'll be publicized.
It just wouldn't be.
Let's go.
And there's advertising for it also available. Channel 8 does community events that they do a service of no charge for that. Several radio stations. There's a lot of advertising that we can get that won't cost us to get that, to put that out.
Okay,
Sounds good.
all right.
The other sites that you visited, did they serve beer and wine?
Stanton does, and so does Ashland. I didn't look at Tappahannock. I'm not a drinker, so
I just wanted to, beer garden or something like that, should be attractive,
right. That's part of
something we'd have to look into.
what
Something to
I'm
look at.
working on.
There's actually a license now, an ABC license. It's allowed for 12 events a year for a town or a municipality. And Irvington just floated that idea of having the events and also having a liquor license that would travel from event to event. They mixed it because they felt it would be too rambunctious or create negative feedback. And I was they compared it to Oyster Festival, and I said, well, I thought to myself, well, my goodness, that might be a little short-sighted on their part.
Well, this is a work in progress.
Yeah, this is an idea.
And if you've got any questions or things that you think we should probably look into, please do this to Marjorie or Garth, and we can follow up on it. Thank you. Okay,
Mayor, that concludes my report.
thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Darcy.
Thank you. Okay, treasurer's report. Who's giving that?
Premise Bank, operating bank account. We've got $781,159.96. The renter water deposits are a total of $14,401.66. The net operating general bank account, we've got $776,520.72. The Truist Historic Trust Fund, we've got $23,046.66. The Truist Pool Replacement Account, we've got $36,763.10. And the Premise Bank Water Fund Reserve, we've got $113,939.55. The Premise Bank General Fund Reserve, we've got $94,719.98. The Bank Cares Local Recovery Fund is $237,651.86. And as of 1/31, the Premise Bank DMV, we had $100. As Mary Bell pointed out, we've got a little bit more than that now. And the Tabor Trust Fund, as of December 31st, was $1,502,728.75. The meals tax collected in January was $5,638.75, which was down from December. And as of January 31st, we had not collected any lodging tax.
Can I just add to that? Little commentary. The state sales tax. I mean, we're making progress in certain areas. It's rather unusual or unique as I go through the numbers and what these things out. And so the state sales tax was 17,856. Proposed budget was 21, so we're almost there on state sales tax. And so by the end of the year, we should have more money than the $21,000 budgeted. One of the things that surprised me was business license tax, okay, is at 22,400. Is that correct?
There is I would say, a file here that included the Oyster Festival business.
So it's a connectivity, the data, right? That's correct. Okay. So we'll have a outstanding question about that. That's why I thought I'd raise it, because it's an aggravation. You might say something about the lodging tax, which year to date is 14,000. We just started collecting that. And so we have budgeted 5,000. We're already blowing out of the woods, so to speak. So by the end of the year, you can expect the lodging tax to contribute quite a bit to the coffers, and that's kind of what we were looking for some time. So when we asked, where are we going to get money to pay for The other thing that I was surprised at was we budgeted $120,000 for meals tax. We're already at 90 for the year. Now, we might have a soft month. And that's what, we were just told. But overall, it seems to have been pretty good so far.
And it's gonna increase as the weather gets warm.
Yeah, I'd just like to give a little bit of good news. Keep things in perspective here.
Well, and Steve, I appreciate you pointing that out, because I think in addition, just so that everybody knows that Michelle is staying on top of this stuff, the Oyster Festival meals tax, the grand total so far is $10,418. And as of January, there were 4 vendors that had not yet paid their taxes.
Yeah, so
And so between the Oyster Festival and the town, they're not going to be invited back. So,
good enough. Fair enough. All right, thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
I think I've asked you this before, Garth, but you know, maybe I got a dead head. I can't remember whether I did or not. CARES money, $234,000. That's half, right? Half
That's
what we're
right.
supposed to get. Is there a deadline that this has to be spent before we can get the rest of it?
That 2,000 or the
234,000
has to be spent before December 2024. Correct.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't think I asked that question before.
We'll get it spent.
Yeah, you guys are exploring this town.
Yeah. We have plenty of things to spend.
But we don't want to lose it.
No, we don't.
Or lose the other half with that.
Well, we'll be getting the other half before we have to spend that, right?
Yes.
That'll be coming in what, about 4 months,
With it,
the other half,
I think it's December.
December?
So what you're saying is we don't have to spend the first half, to get the second.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
And there's certain restrictions and covenants that we have to abide by, which should spend it for. Right, so you're
Yes.
working on that.
We can't spend it on just anything. Okay, that's finished with the finance committee, excuse me, the treasurer's report. Now we go to the finance
Right.
committee.
And on finance, I mean, most of the stuff that I was gonna say has been brought out there, in that we're putting together. As a matter of fact, here's a preliminary copy that over the last couple of days I poured through after I put toothpicks in my eyelids to keep them open. But that being said, the new budget is going to include as a budget item rent for this building, as well as the DMV Select, which are new items to the budget. And that's all being compensated for. When you look at the cash flow for the year, as Steve pointed out, we're ahead of schedule. And so we should have a buffer to compensate for those things. And DMV Select is already generating some income, so that should help to offset Maribel. I think that pretty much covers it. Garth, was there anything else that?
Yeah, I'll add something. Cigarette tax year to date is $2,800. Might not sound like a whole lot, but that's better than what we were getting before, which is
Nothing, correct. And all those
all
things,
the add-on, these little.
a little bit here, a little bit there.
Pretty good.
And you know, I'm glad you brought that up, Steve, because it's you know, right now, the campground is closed. So once they open up and again, the warmer weather starts back up, that's going to increase. And we only have one store that sells cigarettes in the town.
I know. When did we start collecting? I can't remember which month we actually started that.
What,
November.
November. November.
And December from Oyster Festival was $1,400.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
From Oyster Festival.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was a weekend.
Well,
2 days.
I don't know, we don't know when they bought the,
Well, right,
you know, I mean, it's,
but it wasn't a whole month. Then my point is the Oyster Fest isn't a whole.
well, it
isn't part of
actually started the end of August, so it wasn't
Okay.
more than that.
Oh, I see, okay.
But we started the end of August, but they didn't allow us to use all the cigarettes in stores because some of them had been purchased before the tax went into effect. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they had to know what was in stock.
Yeah, right, so. There you go.
Okay, so, Bill, you ready to go straight
So-
from finance to pool?
Right, so for the pool, as Garth pointed out, we've got a meeting with another contractor who potentially could have a more rapid turnaround and timeline and is more turnkey without adding in other pieces, because he works with general contractors routinely and has several teams that I think it was 6 crews that he uses to do pools compared to Douglas, which has only 1. And that's a meeting that's coming up. In addition, the mayor, Garth, Roy, and I met with Lud Kimbrough, Don Harris, Matt Walker, and I don't remember Matt Walker's assistant, for a meeting to discuss the county helping us. And the good news is they didn't just say no. There were things discussed about potential, them not going in at a full 50%, 50-50. I did point out that the town, even if they helped us, the town should get some break in the costs to the citizens over the county, because the town pays into the county and we pay our own taxes. And so whatever we get from them to help the pool is also in part coming from us. And they seemed receptive to all of that. And like I said, the good news is they didn't say no.
It was a good meeting.
It was a good meeting. So
No promises, but it was.
that's where we are now.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, water committee.
Oh, quick question, I'm sorry. Audit? You're not. Yeah, audit. Where are we on the audit? We have 2 and 3 reports that we pay for.
I was actually in communication with Audrey with the Davis audit, and she's got some more information that we need to supply to her, and then she will be completing it.
Good.
So we're making progress.
Any major?
Any issues?
No,
No?
no issues so far.
Good, thank you.
Bill Smith.
Okay. This report, water committee met on the 7th. I thought I was going to be given it during the work session, but that didn't happen. So some of my data is now, I need to update it. I'll be going off the cuff. So excuse me about it. Financing for the well, moving forward on the letter of condition requirements checklist from the USDA, which is the bond attorney, interim lender, etc. All that's in process. I think the bond attorney has been, I saw an email from you that bond attorney's already been done.
Yep.
Interim lender, I'm not quite sure about right now. All of it's in process right now. We have been awarded a loan by the USDA for our new well. Okay, it's $1,056,000.
Okay. And how many years do we pay it off?
40 years. 40. One is 1%. That's like 3 months.
Yay.
So.
Bill, and I don't mean to keep interrupting, but I think it's important to point out what USDA, how they perceive the town and its credibility.
A lot better than they did.
Yeah. I was impressed.
Yeah. Working with the USDA, I've been in private industry my whole career, but working with government, oh my goodness. You need a letter for a letter. There's so much going on. We have an engineer owner agreement that needs to be signed. Andrea, have you reviewed that yet?
You're muted.
Everybody all together, you're muted. I have not received it yet, but if you can send it over, I can look at it.
I think Scott Cook sent that.
I emailed it to you.
Okay, you have it.
Okay.
I will email it again.
Yeah, we can't, for Kimley Horn to start working on it, we need to have that signed off.
Okay,
Next one, stay on.
Don't mute yourself.
Don't mute yourself, Andrea.
okay,
We have a water supply contract with Bethpage. I sent back to you last year.
yep,
You has recommended that we have them under a service agreement for our water.
yes,
I agree with that. I've written it up in the form of what the Middlesex Water Authority did with Grace Point. I basically plagiarized them, but it's to our advantage. So I'd like you to review that so we can set up a meeting with Bethpage people and get that signed off.
all right, sounds good.
System maintenance program, that's Cartograph, update on that. Timeline's been done. I'm going inactive on Cartograph because I don't need to take up a seat for that. I think, Dr. Goldsmith, I think you may want to go inactive too and leave it up to Garth and Roy to pick out who needs to learn that program, down to the.
Martha, Roy and I actually sat in with them, 2 days ago?
Yes, it was Wednesday.
And
I was there too.
And,
I was on and
So-
off. I was
oh,
there.
okay, and to move things forward.
Okay, good. So that, if y'all don't know what Cartograph is, Cartograph's a program that basically takes our entire water system. And every time we do anything to it, it updates. Okay, this is where we won't get into the thing where we were when we started this, that we don't know what we have in the ground. Because now, since we had it mapped, we know what we have in the ground. We just need to update it every time we do something. And with this next thing I'm going to be going on is the upgrades. We got the final document on the infrastructure upgrades. Final cost is $1,000 under what the company quoted us, so we saved $1,000 there. We're requesting identification of potential federal and state grants or low interest loans to be discussed in closed session, which we had last time. We got a quote from AH to go after that. I have a link also I'm going to be sending to AH. That is another federal grant program that we may be eligible for, but AH Environmental does a lot of federal programs. And they're going to apply for this for us. We're not going to have to dig up all this information anymore. We're asking them to do the application stuff. So that's Water Committee report. Somebody got any
And
questions?
if I can add to the Cartograph thing, just to flesh it out a little bit, for all of the things that you see in town, 3 years ago, before we got involved with AHI Environmental, we didn't know where pipes were, what the size was, any of that stuff. And there's also no good tracking for how old any given fire hydrant is. And so now, because all those things have a predictive lifespan, when a hydrant gets put in or it's replaced, it will go into this program and we can look and see when it was replaced, we can anticipate it's going to be replaced. And as it goes in there, it sort of builds on itself. So you then have planned maintenance that you can do, anticipating failure in different things, hopefully allowing you to be a little more efficient in how you get things done.
And as we replace pipes and things like that.
Then
We also know where the old pipes are and where the new ones are, and we can plan, as you
Right.
said, plan maintenance and upgrades.
Right, and
As we go.
that was in the, also AH put together an asset management plan for us, which gave us the dates that everything went in and what we have to do to, when they have to be replaced. Yes.
I just have a question. All that's wonderful. In my experience with an oil company, somebody needs to be responsible. It's great that it's going to predict stuff, but who in this organization watches that? This section of pipe has a leak history, so obviously something's going to need to be done. But I doubt that the computer program's going to tell you that. Somebody has to look at it to see.
Kevin.
Charge of maintenance?
Well, Kevin can do it, but if we have consistent leaks in one area, it's gonna show up because our map shows up on that, program. It'll say that we've done work here, we've done work here, we've done work here again. So that'll target that area.
And you're right, Emily, if you don't use it, then it's not useful,
Just
but
another
that's why
software
that's
package.
why we're talking about, the different people like, Kevin and Martha and Roy being on top of that, so that as things get done, they're actually logged in there so that you have a record.
You have a record, and also if there's a section of pipe that's had 2 leaks in the last 3 years, you might think, well, there's probably gonna be a third one, so maybe we need to replace that
Right.
section or whatever.
Yeah.
This whole system is meant to, right now, I think we do a fantastic job, but it's all based on institutional memory.
Mhm.
You got between Kevin
Yes.
and Tommy Langford, they know where the leaks are and where the weaknesses are, but you need more than just that kind of memory.
And
So
it's all reactive.
this will
Right.
drastically assist with that.
Since I've been here, we've had 3 leaks on Virginia Avenue in front of the sidewalk, the end of the sidewalk. And the first phase of this reassessment puts a new big water main right down Virginia Avenue. And that's exactly what it's designed to do. So we watch it. I mean, it's not like we just say, oh, there's a leak.
Now we're proactive instead of reactive.
Yeah, well, while we're on that topic, for our homeowners association, there's a requirement to actually do reserve study every so often to make sure that we're reserving adequately for replacement in a timely fashion. And what I see is, maybe I don't understand, as we're gathering a lot of data, we're understanding the ages. How are we then taking that to the next step, which is building a reserve to take care of things as opposed to waiting until the thing breaks?
One step at a time.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
know.
and that is one of the
This
reasons.
is kind of where I'm going.
That's the reason we raised water rates, and those are being reassessed because the average for other communities our size, they've gone up, 8.5% in the last 2 years, and we haven't done anything in the last 2 years. So to just,
We went up
that was
We did.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah. So
And I promised at that time that we would look at it yearly, and the reports came out. I didn't get the first one in time, but I got the second one in time. And that's where the 8.5%.
okay, is that going to be annually every 8% increase?
No.
Is it
It
every
was
2 years?
4.5 and 4.
4.5%. It's not quite as dramatic as I was worried about. But
Right.
it's going to happen.
And it's still, the truth is, with those adjustments, we're still cheaper than what Middlesex is doing.
And, well, see, that's the critical point. What I've asked for is, hey, look, at some point, our water rates are going to go, if you build a curve, our water rates are up here. At some point, do you ever meet Middlesex's rates? And then at that point, you say, why the heck are we doing this? Why don't we just,
Well, so can we do,
you know what I'm saying?
right
Yeah.
now,
You think you're in control, but you're not in control.
yeah, in-town rates is $39.70 for 6,000 gallons. It's $90 for 6,000 gallons of Middlesex, that's from Water Authority. So,
Yeah, I got you.
okay, we
We
got a
long
ways to go.
Yeah.
I know you're gonna say I've heard this before, but I disagree with Roy, and I disagree with you. I don't think we're being proactive. I think we're being reactive. Until we put proper pipes in the ground to flush our water through, we have fire protection. We're being reactive, not proactive. And it doesn't matter. I wouldn't put too many new fire, unless the fire hydrant doesn't work at all. I wouldn't spend a whole lot of money on fire hydrants until we have proper pipes in the ground.
Well,
to
that was,
serve.
it was a misstatement. We are moving
Yeah.
toward the place where we can be.
And that's what I said, at this point, historically, this town has always been reactive, not doing anything that didn't have to be done right now.
And that's what I meant by the statement, one step at a time.
Yep.
We're putting the steps in place because we should not be reactive in a lot of the things, and a lot of the other equipment, not only the water lines, but in our equipment maintenance. And we're putting the steps in place so that we can be proactive and have routine maintenance and know what's going on in advance versus having to spend a ton of money to be reactive, like what you're saying, Larry. We're trying to get there.
And as well as creating systems that provide institutional memory
Right.
that are not, that's not dependent on Tommy Langford
But there
and
is
Kevin.
an urgency.
Yes.
And just go down and look at that justice center. It's there, it's brand new, but it burned down. And there wasn't adequate piping underground, hydrants to serve it. Not that it would have made any difference anyway. But the point is, we gotta have the right, pardon me?
Right.
Barbara's also right behind the fire station. I mean,
Yes, right.
right behind the fire station. It's an
So-
external fire.
And that's more about pipe size than anything else.
One of the things to keep in mind is that 10 years ago, this town didn't have about $50,000 in its checking account at its lowest point. We didn't have money for that. It's taken a long 10 years to get to the point where we're financially in better shape, so that we can start talking to people about doing things that were, that we have big plans.
We could have borrowed the
It-
money.
it didn't
We could
happen
have borrowed the
overnight.
money and done it. Though. There are ways of doing it.
Yeah,
We just didn't, we weren't proactive.
but you didn't have, you didn't have so much money to work with. That's the problem.
We've been turning around.
I agree. I'm not
And
disputing
as
that,
far
but
as setting priorities, this program allows us to start planning for things and setting priorities. Like you can walk down Virginia Street, from the Virginia Street Cafe and heading down toward the water, and you can see a series of patches in the middle of the road. And guess what? They patched up here, and then it broke up here. So they patched here, and then it broke up here.
well,
So you just have a whole series of, where the problems are. But this actually documents it, so we can say, you know what, look how many times we've had to work on this pipe. And we can say, well, this one maybe should be first, second, or third priority when we start working on things. So that's what this program is helping us to do.
but we're gambling with our community by not having proper pipes and things.
Well,
But enough there.
all right, so just trying to
We're working
impress
on
on people,
I know
we
you
are moving forward. You don't snap your fingers and get there like that. So, but we're just taking all the right steps and we will eventually get there. Okay, we are now at the place where we have public comment.
Planning
Planning
commission.
commission.
Oh, planning commission. I'm sorry, Mary.
That's okay. That's all right. And it won't take me too long. We met again on February 8th and covered just a few things, a very brief update on the comprehensive plan, which continues to be underway, and we're hoping to have a draft to look at April 1st. And then an update on the project that we've been discussing to replace town street signs. Don Dreyer came back from the folks who've been working on that, the Anzavinos and Sue Warner. And basically they've gotten 4 quotes on the cost of replacing 63 street signs with 30-inch MUTDC approved signs with white and black reflective lettering, poles and hardware for less than $5,000, which is pretty amazing. Installation, we're discussing what would happen with installation. That obviously would be an additional cost or would require some really well-organized volunteer effort. It was also agreed that we should add the Oyster Festival logo to the signs as part of the printing of the signs. Minimal additional cost. Oyster Festival Foundation is on board with that and provided the logo. We had some creative discussion about what to do with the historic signs. And Gary Lister has suggested that we do an online auction of the historic signs, which could be really fun. And then there's what we can do with the chain. We're going to try to sell the chain to either an antiques dealer or perhaps with sections or with signs if people want to purchase chains for that. And we can sell the old poles to Middlesex Metals. And we're hoping that some of the proceeds of those efforts could be used to offset the cost of new signs. I know that Don Dreyer is planning on meeting with Garth and Kevin regarding moving forward with this project. We're not asking for approval at this point so much as I wanted to tell you where we are with that. I think we'll probably be asking for approval perhaps at the next meeting, the town council meeting. We spent most of our time discussing the project plan that I created for the May Economic Development Workshop that we're talking about. And so we looked at that with all the deliverables by month, things that have been done. Right now, we're in the process of reaching out to other small towns in our region. I know that Roy has a meeting set up with the economic development person for Kilmarnock, who is relatively new, maybe a year in that position, seems to have some really good information. I know that Wanda Holberg provided some paper, brochure kind of information on Bluffton, South Carolina and Manio, North Carolina as examples of lovely small towns. I have reached out to make contact with the Virginia Main Street organization, which is actually located in the Virginia Department of Housing and Development. Rebecca Rowe, and I'm hoping for a response from her to see what the Main Street organization has to offer. Matthews and Warsaw and Gloucester have all become a part of that organization. They have an amazing website that has all kinds of resources, resources not only for small businesses, but resources for doing community and town development efforts of various sorts. There is a conference, Main Street Conference in Richmond in May that Roy and I are talking about wanting to go to. It's something that I sent to others on the Planning Commission to see, see what people think and what they're interested in. But I'm really hoping to see if I can get Rebecca Rowe to talk to us about what they do in terms of organizing economic development efforts in some of these towns that are adjacent to us. So I think that I was really glad to have that lead from Martha Rodenberg, who sent that my direction. Various people on the committee are doing things to try to move forward with this project. We have now set Tuesday, May 10th from approximately 1 to 5. We haven't actually settled in, but we know the afternoon for an economic development event. Wanda Holberg was able to secure the Middlesex Women's Club as the location for that. Thank you to Wanda and to the Middlesex Women's Club. And we have a lot that we need to keep talking about. We're very excited though about what we can do to both farm for the existing businesses that we have in Urbanna and to hunt for some new ones when it comes to economic development. And our next meeting is March 8th at 7 p.m. So that's it.
Thanks, Mary. Okay, now we're ready to move into public comment. I will remind you that each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. And I ask you to stand and speak loudly so that you will be recorded and we can all hear you. So I am going to start with Christiane.
Well, actually, you're gonna talk to the, I was just gonna speak for both. Is that okay?
Well, state your name.
Okay. I'm Sarah Jane Wyatt from 60 Island Lane in Urbana. Madam Mayor and Town Council, good evening. I am back before you to present these petitions. 72 of them we have gathered in a week by an ad hoc group we've named Advocate for the Urbana Creek Water Trail. We've gone door to door, made phone calls and talked one-on-one to many residents who might not attend a meeting or write you a letter, but nonetheless support the kayak launch and pier. Many do not understand the opposition to such a project. Some are in favor, but worry it will take necessary funds from other needs. We believe the town can work together to fix the issues many are concerned about and complete this project. By bringing more people to Urbana to enjoy all we have to offer, we all win. Shops will have new customers, the restaurants will be busier, and our small town will be known for more than the Oyster Festival. That's not a diss to the Oyster Festival. The Virginia Department of Conservation and Recreation already has Urbana on its website for the statewide Blue Water Trail. And they would like to work with us to build a formal access site here in Urbana. In talking with them, Christy was the one talking with them, they were very enthusiastic about helping to promote this effort as well as other efforts in town. They also said they have money for many of the things we want to do. As of last night, they informed Christy and Savino that Urbana qualifies for a recreational trail program grant as well as other funding. The director of the program has agreed to work with the proposed committee to establish what they call a grade tourist attraction. So what I'm saying here is we are here to support the committee that you have formed, and we just want you to know that there is a lot of enthusiasm for it and perhaps some money out there that many of us are willing to work on to help make happen. So I just encourage everyone to keep considering this and let's work together to achieve our common goal. And then I did want to add, I apologize, I misspoke in the paper and in one of the blue sheets that y'all might have seen. I was the one that said Middlesex Planning Commission. I meant Urbana, and I don't know, I messed up. But what would you like to do with these petitions? May I hand them to you?
Or you can give them to me and I'll.
Do you need my notes? Is that part of the record as well?
Sure. You don't mind.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, and yes,
Sorry to interrupt. Has the committee been formed yet?
People have been invited to join, and Garth can tell us about that when we get through this. Okay. Let's see, the next one on the list is Hank Johnson.
Thank you, but I'm gonna reserve my comments for a later meeting.
Okay. Yep. All right, Sandy Sturgill.
I'm Sandra Sturgill, 100 Oyster Road, and I think most of y'all know my position with the Haynes Crack House property. I spent a lot of time today at the courthouse researching that property, and I was amazed to find that it was only 32 feet wide at the waterfront. And there is a 30-foot easement that comes in there, and there's also a 20-foot easement for ingress and egress. I just want to say we should be proactive and that we should have this survey. We should have those easements marked so that we know where they are. I mean, it looks like at the courthouse in the plat, that easement goes in the middle of the property on the ground. I could be wrong. I'm not a lawyer, but we need to know where the easement is. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and Bill Hyde.
With reference to this lady here and all of these petitions and everything about this Blue Water Trail and everything, a very simple solution would be to transfer over to the town which is already existing with kayak racks and everything, plus a semblance of a couple of nasty porta potties, which y'all can really do better. But for whatever reason, that makes sense. You've got the development from the maintenance scope, which is not a given thing. I have heard people here talk about, well, maybe that they might want to rent that, and I understand that maybe you were proponent of that. Were you? Were you in favor of it or not?
What?
No.
No.
Oh, I see.
No, you were not.
No, I'm not.
Barbara.
Yes. All right.
Am I done?
Well, no,
Are you done?
finish your thought.
You gotta address us now.
Yeah.
Christie, that's okay.
Yeah.
Stop the clock, please. Bill,
Madam Mayor?
Yeah.
done? Thank you. Okay, that wraps up the public comment, and now we will have public comment response period. Anyone up here?
Well, I think we're all in agreement that we want to do something to allow kayaks to enter the creek for the Blue Water Trail. The discrepancy is how grand it needs to be and whether it needs to be at the end of Virginia Street. And that's why a committee is being formed by the people that have, that are sort of the stakeholders of the waterfront and representatives of the town and the council to establish something that's a cohesive plan for that waterfront so that it looks like a uniform thing. As compared to, you know, right now that, well, I won't get into to piecemeal, but that's what it is. And now Sandy brings up an interesting point, and Larry talked about it at the last meeting, where there are easements on that property that make you question how the permit got there in the first place, that those easements existed because of access for what the emergency vehicles and whatnot, fire and rescue going down that roadway. Because Larry asked that at the last meeting, and it sounds like Sandy has tracked that down, and those easements do exist, and it may encumber what we can do with that property if we look at it in its current state for the use we intend.
So Garth is also having that surveyed.
Yeah, being surveyed.
So those things are,
They're underway.
they're underway, and I think we're all in agreement that we need to have kayak access to the creek.
I would like to thank Sarah Jane Wyatt and Christy Izvito, and I don't know if you were involved as well. So, but thank you for your work.
Well, we appreciate everyone's comments. Pro and con, whatever you have to say, it's all valid. Can I just say, we are going to continue, because this is just a small representation of the community. And find the community, the people of the town, and the businesses of the town, because they pay taxes too, are all encouraged to weigh in on anything that the town is doing. That's what representative democracy is about. And at the heart of it, at the town level, is really the basis of it. So we encourage discussion, we encourage debate, we encourage people who disagree. It's all good.
And we have gotten a lot of comments, we'll gladly, pro and con, that we will gladly
I was
share.
going to say,
Thank you.
did you tally the no's?
Most people that we talked to were, yes.
Okay.
You didn't tell me no.
I personally didn't have anybody that said they were totally against it. They have reasons why they'd like it to be maybe somewhere else.
At the marine.
No, not necessarily just at the marina.
Okay.
Where it's not.
Well,
And I had no notes at all.
what's that between your eyes?
Thanks for bringing us back. Barbara.
I just want to reiterate that, I think part of the problem, said this before, is that there are lots of different ideas. They're related, they're almost the same, but they're not quite the same. And we haven't been able to get some consensus on any one of those ideas, which I think is why the committee is a good idea, because we can iron things out. And, some of us are gonna be unhappy with what comes out. Some of us are gonna be really happy, and most of us, I hope, will be satisfied that we have something good that we can work with that'll be good for the town. So, and that's just the way it goes.
I just want to make sure everybody understands that the whole purpose of the committee, that's part of the democracy, is that you form a committee that's based on, that is comprised of folks that are for and against, that represent the town, and then they will flesh it out and then bring it back. And the town council, I think, made the wise decision at the last meeting to table this thing. Now, and the motion was, which was voted on by the council, to review and develop a comprehensive plan for the entire waterfront owned by town, to include private homes and marinas, in order to work together as a group. I don't think it can get any better than that.
No.
So, and the mayor has requested that Mary Hanson, Steve Holberg, Latney Montague, Gary Lister, Sarah Jane Wyatt, and herself be a part of this committee to look at the broader scope of things. And I mean, that's how it's supposed to work. Yes.
You had Latin in there, but how about the bridge marinas? They're part of the waterfront too.
The what?
The bridge marinas.
That's all that land. Oh, we're,
Yeah, but this is a comprehensive plan for the entire waterfront.
well, we're not marina.
We,
It's already developed and privately owned.
Right.
We're really talking about what
And
we're
I'm
gonna do
using-
for Oyster
I'm sorry.
Harbor.
That's not what I understood the motion to be though. It's a comprehensive
Mike,
plan. for
and
the
I left
entire
off Mike
waterfront.
Jolly. Did you get a copy of this? Okay, I apologize, because I sent it out on behalf of the mayor. You were asked to be a part of it. Mike Jolly, I apologize. So,
Well, we can look into bridge marinas. I understand.
I
Has that
think-
been sold or is that?
I think everybody that owns is part of the economic driving of this town, which the bridge marinas is, needs to have a say in the waterfront as a comprehensive plan for the entire waterfront. Then you need to
Okay.
include the condos too.
One of the things we're gonna do is work on refining the definition of what we really mean by the entire waterfront. So that would-
Okay, can anyone who's at the far end of the room, we can barely hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Just a little
believe
louder.
The original plan, as I understood it, and you can correct me, was that we were really trying to come to grips with what the town can do with the town-owned property while working with the immediate neighbors of that property. And Bridge Marina, well, we'll reexamine what the motion was, and then we may have to redefine who's gonna be on the committee, but I think we need to look at that. I thought that was the intent, because Bridge Marina is already developed and it's privately owned, but we do have these other two pieces. We've got the end of Virginia Street, we've got the town marina, and then we've got neighbors involved. And we need to have consensus, or at least the majority rule. We need to work with the neighbors who are surrounding the town property, and Bridge Marina is separated from that.
But you're taking Bridge Marina's a private marina, well, so is Landy's Marina.
Yes, but he's right
And
next
so are
door
the
to.
condos.
Yeah.
They're private.
But they are abutting.
Yeah.
I do understand that, but
Right.
I took that motion to mean that we were gonna get all the waterfront owners
oh my God.
there.
No,
No, I'm talking Bridge Marinas from the bridge all the way down to our town marina. That's how I took it. And all of them get together with a comprehensive plan on how to make that waterfront.
No,
I took the motion that way too, Bill Smith.
free for all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
The whole purpose of a committee is you appoint responsible people to a committee to flesh things out and then bring it back for discussion.
yeah,
And I think they need to be involved.
And I think one of the options of the committee is going to be, let's make sure that we understand what the scope is.
Exactly, but that's part of the
Yeah.
committee.
And we will make a recommendation to narrow the scope so that we focus on those issues that are conventional, rather than trying to reinvent the entire waterfront, which is already clearly settled in some respects.
right, but Bridge Marina's bill is already sort of settled in
Yeah,
terms of that's
exactly.
not gonna change appreciably.
You're not gonna tell the people in their condos that you're gonna rezone the condos or anything, or use those differently. That would be
Right.
We also have the end of Watling Street too. You know,
Yeah,
there- you can throw lots of this all day long.
Yeah,
all right. Thank you for your input. Okay, are we done with the response public?
Yes.
Okay, then let's move on to old business. Looks like we've got new water trail update.
Let me take that, Gar.
Go ahead.
Let me give you some
You did
history.
a fantastic job with your email.
Your email, okay. This was approved by council at the end of Diane Gravitt's term. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes. We thought it was a great idea. And so I sat down with John Gill, who had some experience in this. He had helped with the precocious one. And he said, you got to create the sites. You got to come up with sites. So I came up with about 15 sites on the creek. And we put it, John produced a map, which Murray, you know about, others know about. It just made sense. If we got, the simple way to do it was point A, you start, you go around to the different sites, you come back to point A, you stop right there. That made sense to me. But there were other problems. We'd done the MITS program where there were signs that you could go and see. Initially, that's all it was. Then we got into the app thing, which was really great. So that, and we added to it, we put no photographs on it so that people could use the app. I don't know how it works, but it works. And
It's pretty neat.
yeah, and we talked about, well, not gonna be as easy to put signs in the water as it is on land. You got BMRC to deal with. Then we said, well, maybe we can put them on the shoreline, away from BMRC. And then we began thinking about, well, maybe we just ought to do it virtual. And then, of course, we had an election, and it took a long time to get everything straight. So it's a year later, and here we are. We're back. But we created Barbara, and Garth created a committee. Dan's on it. Roy, Garth, myself, who else? I can't recall. But we met about a month ago with Kurt Smith and Jackie Rickards with Middle Peninsula District Planning Commission, which some of the stuff that you brought up about the money being available and all, we learned that too. But they in talking about the signage, how do you go about, you know, having a place you put a sign up? They said, no, we do it all virtual. We're doing this all over the state of Virginia and regions and whatever. We have money to do it and all this other stuff. But then I said, well, that ought to be great. Just 15 sites. I can probably come up do that pretty quick. But then they put an itch in the thing. They said, well, the way we're doing it, and Urbanna Creek is large enough to do it, is we want an elementary kayak tour. We want an immediate kayak tour. And we want one that is more challenging.
I mean, an
Intermediate.
Yes.
Thank you. Intermediate. You got to keep me straight.
we both have to keep each other.
I know. And I started thinking about that. Okay, that means more sites. Well, nothing really can be done until I generate the history and the photographs of the sites. And this is going to be different from any other one that's in the state. And we talked to Kurt Smith about it and Jackie Riddick. And I produced a sample. And I sent it to them, and they said it would work. But what has to be done is I have to produce all of the sites, historical sites, really before we do anything else. I mean, I'm saying, okay, that's a good place for a site. I know a little bit of history, but I might not know enough history to create a site. So what I'm telling you is, I hate to say, give a time period to anything, because when I wrote the Middlesex County history book, I said I could do it in 1 year, and it's 5 years. But I think this can be done in about 6 months on my part. And at that point, they will be able to take the thing and, you know, the history. Well, the site I used was right in front of Beth Justice's house, and that's where the pickle factory was. And I had a lot of information on that. And that worked out pretty well from their standpoint, and they thought it was a great way to do it. So it is going to be different from what anybody else has, but it's going to take me a little while to get it together. So if you all can be patient, I'll get it together.
And you know it by the GPS coordinates or something?
Yeah, it's all going to be virtual. And I mean, they're doing it right now all over the place. and all these other creeks and whatever. So we're not reinventing the wheel by any means.
What did you do with Westport, Larry?
I don't know. But they can tell you.
Certainly that is true. I hope they do that.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did.
My question is, how many of us have lost our cell phones when we've taken them out on a kayak or canoe? I mean, you know.
No, you
it
put
goes
it in
the
a dry
water.
bag and put your lanyard on it.
I think it's a great question. I mean, I'm not gonna be able to do it because I'm not smart enough to use a cell phone to do it.
I'll go with you, Larry.
But
Those
there-
people won't complete the trail.
Take your
Oh,
phone.
and the other thing that I wanted to bring up is sites. Bill Smith, you're correct. There are a number of places on Urbanna Creek that are public property. They want to do the beginner site come out of Oaks Landing at the head of the creek. So there'd be a site there. The second tour, I would think, would be on the eastern side of the bridge, which is where everything is. And of course, we'd either use the 30 feet or we'd use the marina. The other one is at the headwaters, at the mouth of the creek, goes out into the river, goes into Perkins Creek, comes out of Perkins Creek, goes into Robinson's Creek. And where would you have a ramp there? Well, we have a 30-foot strip on the river, but not very good for offloading kayaks, I would think. But there is Waterman Park. Yeah. There is a site at the end of Ford Mott, but you could create it if you had to. What I'm telling you all is you say, well, I don't know where the best site's gonna be, and I don't think we're gonna know until we finish this part of it. What I'm telling you is it's gonna be a while whether I know that 30-foot strip is gonna be the best place, or Marina's gonna be the best place, Oaks Landing is gonna be the best place. It's gonna take 2 or 3 sites for a kayak ramp. That makes sense to you?
It's even better.
Yeah.
So the 30 foot, you're saying at Waterman Park to be an input place?
What I'm saying is that's a possibility. And another possibility is in the wildland tree. I'm just saying where we own public land, where public land is. Yeah. I don't think it's a good spot at Waterman Park because of rocks and what have you. But what do I know? They might have some type.
They might mountain climb or rock climb.
Yeah.
And paddleboard and kayak.
Or maybe they'll give us some.
That's my,
That's why it's all right now, sort of up in the air.
All right. Well,
Anyway, that's my.
thank
you, Larry.
Thank you.
onward.
Okay. It's not an easy thing, and we appreciate that you're handling it. Okay. Any more old business? Okay, let's go into new business. Stock burning event? What?
Haven't you ever been to a stock burning?
Well, yeah, but let's do it.
It's usually for other reasons.
I just was thinking what we could do to include more people in little events. And this would cost very little. Put it on the website. People wanted to go down to the marina at 2 o'clock after the farmer's market. Had been from 9 to 1. They could go down and burn their socks. I invited my son and my 2 granddaughters down from Pittsburgh to one in Deltaville, and the girls spent like 2 weeks picking out the socks that they wanted to burn.
Do we have fire suppression yet?
Yeah. I just thought it was an idea.
That sounds like a wonderful idea.
It's the prelude for sailing.
That's right.
It's the beginning of boating season, or whatever, you take your socks off so you don't wear them under your dock slippers.
Can we have beer and wine there?
As far as I'm concerned.
Beer and wine may need more than socks getting burned.
So, when are you thinking about doing this? March?
Well, we thought about doing it in conjunction with a farmer's market, which is what, May 14th, something like that. And that's a little late, but we could do it anytime. It's just.
Just do it on a Saturday morning, have a sock burn.
It's an
10 o'clock.
opportunity to get the town together for a lighthearted event, and we can make it as big or as small as we want. I mean, you know, when Roy was talking to me about it, he used the golf cart parade as an example. I mean, you know, that started out small, and I mean, look how it's grown.
Tom said before the next meeting in the parking lot out front.
I think since we have a burn ban, it needs to be
After 4 o'clock.
Right.
So it should be an early.
Can you get the fire marshal on the side?
You can write an exemption.
Well, we can burn at the waterfront.
The burn requirement stops there.
Yeah, after 4.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I cannot hear anything that's being said between council and staff right
It
now.
was just funny sock burning.
Okay.
It wasn't anything.
Okay,
Yeah,
just
it's
checking.
funny.
All right, thanks.
Just
Boy's taking copious notes.
about the sock burning.
All right, so do we need to make this an action item?
Borrowed them.
Okay,
If
very
you
good.
borrow your side.
You can make it an action item if you say no,
Oh.
but otherwise.
So what is the cost?
We'll figure out a time, an appropriate time. The,
Yeah,
Deltaville one is like sometime in March. So, yeah, it's gotta be kind of, it really should be earlier than May 14th. But I was just trying to add it on to the town or the farmer's market.
No, the yacht club's doing it in March. That's when they're getting their boats ready.
so you said there was a cost associated with this? Is that what you said?
A little wood.
Oh, a little wood, okay.
And some stuff.
Oh, no, you bring your own socks.
Oh, and Margaret pointed out something that for people who didn't want to burn the socks, they could bring a new pair of socks and we could donate them to.
Oh, there you
go.
Yeah,
I like that.
great idea.
Little, do that.
I've got about 2 dozen pair of my late husband's socks. No one else has feet that big.
All right, well, I will develop this a little bit more.
Thanks very much. Okay, time for announcement?
Yes. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
No, go ahead.
Okay,
Are you gonna adjourn or announce?
no, I'm gonna announce.
Okay.
That's not like you.
I know, well, it didn't say time yet, so I'll follow the calendar. So late last year, I talked to you guys about, food truck happening. That is now set in stone for June 25th from 11 to 5 at Tabor Park. Working with Mr. Fadre, Mr. Joseph, and Pam when I get a hold of her tomorrow.
Tim Simon.
Pam Simon from the Oyster Festival. We're gonna have some vendors there, gonna speak with Mr. Hyman, also about a craft beer little area, music, possibility of inflatable like bounce house slide, stuff for the kids to do. Gonna have other vendors. Of course, we have charged the vendors because we need to get a little bit to offset for the porta potties that we have to bring in. And then the food trucks will also pay a fee to come and do this. The cost might be for us to just get the porta potties, but once they're there, Ron is gonna make sure that he collects the money from the food trucks. We'll work out getting the money from the vendors. And I've got to work out with Marty Hart just on the cost of what it costs for farmer's market and what it would cost, you can't ask the farmer's market people to come and pay more for a table or an area than you do for that. So we need to do the draw. So June 25th from 11 to 5.
Thank you. Any other announcements?
Yeah, I'd like to make an announcement.
Well, I think Garth raised his hand.
Okay.
No, go ahead, Art. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, part of my announcement is, of course, that we have the cigarette tax contributes to our coffers, $2,841 year to date. We expect that to continue. And my idea is, and I'd like to present this to the rest of the finance committee, is we consider using that money towards the historic tobacco exchange, the Scottish Factor Store, to assist with that historic fund that's gradually building up to do improvements to the tobacco warehouse.
Good idea.
It's whatever
Tobacco funding.
whatever tobacco, yes, tobacco funding's backwards down around, I think. Because the cigarette tax, originally the 1600s created exchange system. So anyway,
Yes,
I don't-
it was the tea factor.
yeah, okay, so whoever's in charge of that, that's my idea. I just wanted to announce it and let's see if we can pursue it,
Well, let's
formulate it.
put that on the agenda for the next.
a motion for the next meeting, okay?
Okay. All right. Garth.
Just a reminder, we've got, scheduled coffee with the town administrator, the mayor, and Councilman, Bill Goldsmith, scheduled for Wednesday, March 2nd at 9 a.m. here. You can join us for coffee and some danishes or whatever Martha's cooking up. And we hope you'll join us to just talk about topics relative to the town.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Second? Bill? Okay, that's Marjorie motion, Bill second. Any discussion?
Yes. No, go.
Vote Marjorie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Bill? Steve?
Yes.
Bill?
Okay.
Mary?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, we're adjourned. Thank you. Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you, everybody.
You helped me before, you want to be involved in it.